Hello.
Great to have you down, Neil. We've got Neil, Eccentric Neil from CrossFit Eccentric.
Eccentric, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not eccentric, it's eccentric.
Eccentric, yeah.
Eccentric.
Sorry, just swallowing my coffee wrong.
Yeah.
Good start.
It's not COVID.
Oh, I just breathed in the coffee.
Where's your mask?
So Neil is from Downpatrick. He owns a CrossFit gym there and has done for quite a long time. One of the OGs, really,
I
in
think,
Northern
yeah,
Ireland.
I think I'm in the 9th year here now at the moment.
Unreal.
Great.
And you're also a bit of a DJ on the side.
Yeah. I was a DJ before I started doing CrossFit. Well, you guys probably know, but most people know, like, I used to be really overweight. I was obese at a stage, and part of that was to do with the kind of lifestyle that came along with being a nightclub DJ, all of the beer and all the rest. So and then I decided to try and start losing weight for my wedding, and started doing some bits and pieces, things like Insanity. I'm sure you've heard about that.
Oh yeah.
Sean T.
Yeah, I'll Sean T. And it was good, it was really effective. So it was at the start, basically before I found CrossFit, I had already lost a bit of weight with a personal trainer, and seen some results there, and people had started saying to me, you look good, you've lost some weight, lost a couple of stone, and ended up on honeymoon. I said to my wife, I think I might go back here and open up a bit of a training place, really because of the change that it had on my life, where I felt more confident, comfortable in my own skin. And I said, I'm going to try and help some people lose some weight just by doing the same sort of stuff that I've been doing. So I took possession of a little tiny studio above a sweet shop, would you believe, in Downpatrick.
Just to make it simple for you.
Yeah, and done the place all up, and it was kind of very much Insanity style training. That was kind of all the rage back then, but it got to the stage where I kind of got a wee bit fed up, like dancing in front of an iPad. So I just typed into YouTube one day, like, high intensity workouts, and this CrossFit workout came up, and it was a 7-minute AMRAP of 7 empty barbell thrusters and 7 burpees. So I looked at it and thought, wow, 7 minutes, right? That's like them Insanity workouts were 35-40 minutes, and you were really sweating in them, like.
The CrossFit trap, isn't it? You just the first round, like, I can
It's
do that.
only
Like
7 minutes.
It's only Fran.
Yeah.
Sure, that's quick.
So what I did was I just happened to have an Olympic barbell. I don't know why I had an Olympic barbell, but I did. So I done this workout, 7 thrusters, 7 burpees, 7 minutes. My PT client that was coming in, I think actually just after that session, found me lying on the floor in the studio. He's an American guy, goes, dude, are you okay? And I was like, no. He said, what have you just done? I just did a CrossFit workout. He goes, right. I says, you're doing it next.
Class.
That's so good.
So I put him through the exact same workout, obviously not knowing the mechanics of how to squat properly and all that good stuff. We done 7 thrusters, 7 burpees. I did 4 rounds on that, by the way. And this other guy, Jason,
7 minutes.
in 7 minutes, yeah, and was done. Just that little bit of feedback with the barbell was enough just to tip me over the edge. I'd been running things like 10Ks and stuff as well during that time. So I figured out, I'm going to put every single PT client through this workout for the next week, and then we're going to retest it in a month just to see. And by then I had the iPad was gone, Insanity, I was done with that, and it was literally just CrossFit main site, looking at what I used to call the WOD. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So started doing CrossFit.com instantly, and figured out that there was really something to it. Back then I actually worked for my mum and dad in their family business, a fish factory, and after about a month of doing CrossFit, I was like, Dad, I think I'm going to try and open a CrossFit gym. Do you need me to take over this place anytime soon?
Yeah.
And he says, Neil, there's probably not going to be a fishing industry in the next 15 years, so go ahead. That was the polite way he put it, by the way. The retesting, though, of that particular workout, that what I called 7 minutes of hell, everybody was up to 6-7 rounds after a month of doing CrossFit, and that was, for me, that was like, this is the ticket. This
Bit
here,
of an eye opener, yeah.
yeah.
To see
Like,
those results.
so that's that old saying, like, observe, measure, repeat, and that
yeah.
just got me completely hooked on CrossFit.
Yeah.
We actually, before we opened, I remember messaging you and we headed down.
Yeah.
That was over 7 years ago now. And we sat on the floor in your gym in a circle and just chatted and asked you questions if you know about opening a facility, basically.
Yeah.
And you were one of the first gym owners we'd interacted with to get a bit of sort of feedback and opening.
Yeah.
So it goes way back.
I remember that actually, because
We did a wee WOD as well.
yeah, we done a WOD.
Yeah.
Memory serves me well. There was pull-ups in it.
Yeah, there was.
That was good fun. So it was. I remember you guys coming down. And we've all just kind of grown from then, haven't we? Like,
It's funny how CrossFit has changed, since then.
There were maybe only 9 or 10 gyms, if even, was there?
If even.
Around then?
yeah. Back then, I think it was CrossFit Newry.
Yeah.
That was the first place I went to visit, actually. Reebok CrossFit, obviously.
Yeah. Derry, CrossFit Derry.
CrossFit Derry, yeah.
80-20 being about.
I
as
think
well.
so.
Yeah.
And then there was the Coleraine. Eve and Steve opened
Yeah.
up fairly
Yeah.
in around that sort of time too. So
right.
we're all kind of
CrossFit Belfast.
in it together, aren't we? Like,
Yeah,
it's good.
sort of. Yeah.
Nice one, cool.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what your lifestyle was like as a DJ. So you would have insight into that.
Yeah. Okay. So insight into that there was
When did you start doing it and why? And
okay. So I was 16. I used to do horse riding. Actually, I was really into horses.
Mate, there's just a new layer. It's like just a new layer. Just horse riding, DJ, fish factory, CrossFit, unreal. Just like, what's going to be pulled out of that bag next?
Well, I did the horse riding. I got into that late in terms of kind of childhood. So it was like 11 or 12, I think. I got into that, and then started volunteering at the local equestrian centre most Saturdays. And just got into horse riding. I was into the sort of show jumping aspect of it, and really enjoyed falling off and getting back on. I think that tells you a lot about yourself. First time you fall off a horse, you're either back on or you're not. And I remember at that sort of young age, I was like, Mom and Dad, can I get a horse? They're like, yeah. So my dad knew this guy who knew a farmer that had a field full of wild horses.
Yes.
So
The basis of the start of every good story. So he knew someone who knew someone
I know a guy.
who knows a guy.
So this guy helped me train this horse. So most people, when they get their first horse, it's usually a horse that's a good few years old, and it's been ridden already, and it's used to getting a saddle put on its back and like its ears touched and stuff. This horse was completely bonkers. Like, fell off that thing more times than I care to remember. But eventually got kind of fed up with him. He was too crazy. We broke him, and I got doing some riding with him, but he was just too young. He was 3 years of age. I'd never really had anyone on his back, and I fell off him so many times. It was like, maybe I need to get a better horse here.
Yeah.
So I did. I got a different horse called Owen. That first horse was called Star. Next horse was called Owen, and he was actually, fitness story here. When we got Owen, he hadn't been ridden in about 2 years, so he was really overweight. So he was my first client, I suppose. Took the weight off him, turned him into an absolute beast. So it was cool.
did he do the 7-minute AMRAP as well? With the
Yeah. But leading into the first question, how I kind of got into DJing was, so I had the horses and stuff through like 13, 14, 15, and then around age 16, I started getting into like dance music, and ended up going to the coach in Banbridge on my 16th birthday. Don't tell my mum. So, yeah, Mark Wesley and Barry McConkey were the resident DJs of the coach back then, and like the first night I walked in there, I was like, yeah, this is the ticket. So instantly was like, right, I want to get a set of decks now. I want to be a DJ, and ended up selling Owen to get a set of decks.
Oh man,
Oh no.
that is heartbreaking.
Yeah, evil. we sold them to a good home and stuff, and that. But yeah, I just got into music in a big way, and like music, like this was in around the sort of turn of the millennium, so like tunes like Binary Finery, Atlantis, Fiji. These are really songs that, like,
No idea what you're talking
know.
about there. No.
if you listen to the podcast. But yeah, like just really old school, like Ibiza anthems. Just got really into that, and then started playing and going out. And I got a gig with like a residency with like an agency, and he would ring me up on a Thursday and go, right, Neil, you're in Carrickfergus this weekend. You're playing a 21st birthday party, and that was it. Just started doing that.
Very good.
It was good fun.
Awesome.
On the road constantly DJing.
Yeah.
How did you find that? Well, obviously the lifestyle didn't
Yeah.
equate to the fitness. That's like what you were saying. That's how you started on the health and fitness journey.
Well, yeah, because like I mean, back then I smoked, right? So, and that was the thing. Like every time you played a new record, it was light up another cigarette.
I suppose you could smoke indoors and all then. So
yes,
you were just puffing away all night.
That just goes to show you how long ago that was, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could. I think one week I'd be in Carrickfergus, next week I'd be in Belfast, and these were all like kind of small places. One of the best places I actually used to play at was a place called the Depot in Raffir Island. That was just crazy party, and then it was, of course, it was kind of single back then, so it was like, do you want to go to an after party and all of that stuff? And the late
You were
nights,
kind of single.
huh?
You were kind of single.
Sort of, yeah. So yeah, just that lifestyle, staying up late, and like back then I worked in sales in Belfast in the call centre, so it was like, eating bad food, making bad choices, partying all weekend, and just eating.
Sitting all day, I guess.
Yeah. The closest thing I had to fitness back then was putting the DJ kit in the back of the car, right?
Yeah.
So all of that kind of led up to me gradually putting weight on. It just sneaks on you, like, that's most people will find that, like.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a process.
Yeah.
A lot of time you don't notice it creeps up, and then before you know it, you're sort of in a bit of a rut.
Yeah, like there's a stage where I was in double XL t-shirts and a size 40 waist, and there was a particular moment where I had to get a suit for some sort of occasion. I can't remember what it was, but like my suit was bigger than my dad's suit, and that was one of the things that really made me go, I need to change something here.
Line in the sand, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to kind of use that to segue into this next question.
Okay.
What is the most difficult physical thing that you have ever done? Could be a CrossFit WOD, could be, I don't know, a hike or a challenge or something that you just find really, really difficult physically.
Tough Mudder would definitely be up there.
Yeah.
I did Tough Mudder in Dublin. Punchestown Racecourse it was actually many years ago. This was like after a year of doing CrossFit, and
we did that one.
Is that where you did in Dublin? Yeah.
it was frosty. It was
wasn't
really
there, like-
cold.
Yeah.
The first
You go through the wee lake and all, was it?
yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the one. Strangely, I did Tough Mudder 2 years in a row, as if the first time wasn't bad enough.
But
But
you kind of forget, don't you?
yeah,
Yeah.
but the first obstacle was literally in the water. You're getting wet at the very start of this race. Physically, that was tough. That was a 12 miler. That was tough going. Like I already ran Jimmy's 10K, which is the local Downpatrick 10K, and found that to be challenging but good. Done that in under 50 minutes, which was class. You're going from 22 stone to running a 10K sub 50 minutes. I couldn't do that now, like, but yeah,
And
back then. it
your
was-
goal in Tough Mudder was just to get round as fast as you
yeah,
can, was it?
just to complete it.
Yeah, so that would make it a lot more difficult. We kind of pottered around it, and
Yeah,
stopped
we
and
had the
chatted,
banter.
and
Yeah.
yeah, there was a few cues at the obstacles and things.
Yeah, well, we did that too. Like
Yeah.
we like run, walk, because I did it with some of the members of the gym, and some of them like hadn't actually ran a 10K before, so they were like, they kind of liked the idea that it wasn't a non-stop running race, and it was kind of, let's just do some obstacles. But
Yeah.
the coldest I've ever been,
Yeah.
like hands down,
Really?
it was tough. That
Very good.
and a more recent one, we went up Binion
Yeah.
about 6 weeks ago. This is so stupid. So I got these awesome new horse riding boots because that's something I'm planning on getting back into at some point. And I had a wee horse riding lesson, towards the tail end. Once we got out of the first lockdown, I bought these fancy new boots for getting on the horse. And the night before we went up Binion, I said to my wife, Nat, do you think I should wear these boots or trainers? She says, definitely wear your trainers.
You'll have to describe what a horse riding boot is like.
It looks
I'm
like
picturing
a
like a knee, like
No.
if you're doing the dressage,
No, they're just like normal, like sort of hiking boots. They're waterproof and stuff. And I thought, this is the smart move, and it was not the smartest move at all, because 10 minutes into the hike, I told the guys, when you stop for a second, I need to change my socks. These socks are rubbing. And when I took the socks off, I already had blisters. This was at the bottom of Binion. And I was like, well, too late now. Went on up to the top of Binion and like suffered badly with blisters on the way up. The way down was tough, like, but
it's a right bit of walking Binion as well, isn't it?
it is.
we did it during lockdown, didn't we?
Yeah, it was 6 or 7 hours before, maybe.
It was a decent wee one, yeah.
You must have went the scenic way, did you?
We went straight up something.
Straight up and down and round. It was a long descent we did.
Yeah.
A big curvy thing.
Big path on the way down.
Yeah.
It's sort of, it's quite rocky path, but it's not, steep or anything on the way
Well,
down.
we went up and down, so we went the short way.
Okay.
I don't know. I know that there's a really nice scenic way you can go where there's a lovely wee lake.
I think that's the way we went down. So it is.
Yeah.
We were just pushed for time that day, so it's like, let's just get up and get down.
Yeah.
So that was pretty tough too. Doing that with cut feet was mental toughness, as Rich Froning says.
Yeah.
I would have thought you would have had some crazy rowing challenge in there or something, because you're quite into rowing as well.
I am, yeah.
I remember maybe you told us that you used to row. You used to prop the rower out and look out the front door every morning at your gym and do 5k or something like along those lines.
Yeah, that was back whenever I was on Perpetual Performance with Andy Edwards. It was, he would do like monostructural metabolic conditioning at the start, and it would be like row for 30 seconds, rest for 30 seconds, do that 6 times, rest for 3 minutes, do the whole thing 3 times. And for me, at the start, he was the first coach that I'd ever hired for myself, and that was such a shock to my system, because back then I thought, CrossFit's 7-minute AMRAPs and 20-minute AMRAPs, Cindy's and Fran's and all of that good stuff, but the discipline required to get on a piece of cardio kit and put that time in, that was such a game changer, and it is quite clearly evident in the sport today when you look at people like Matt Fraser. And Rich Froning's a huge advocate of that kind of monostructural metabolic conditioning.
That's it, because they're not only able to snatch 140 or whatever, but they can get on a rower and hold a 140 pace for 5k or something stupid,
which is awesome. And you see like the likes of the games, when Castro programs like they're crazy, like the marathon row, like everybody lists that as the most boring event in history, but I loved every second watching that. Just seeing them all suffering so badly, especially when Kalipa, he went for the full send at the start to get those extra points.
Didn't Kalipa win though, didn't he?
Yeah, he won both. He won the 2k sprint and then the marathon.
Really? So did it open with a 2k sprint and then it straight into marathon?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Standard Dave Castro style. He'll row a marathon, but before that, time trial your 2k.
Yeah, class.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but like that's one of my least favorite things as a rower or a CrossFitter is 2k time trial. That workout scares me big time.
Just a rowing in general is my least favorite thing. I hate it. I don't want that piece of equipment in here. That or a bike.
See the rowing actually. Like I started coastal rowing for Dundrum. I want to say 2016. Really back then I was just I was doing all this stuff as you know, and one of my members, Davey, who's still a member, he used to do a bit of rowing. I think he used to do a bit of scull rowing up in Belfast, and he said to me one day, Neil, your rowing's pretty good, you should join a rowing club. And I was like, okay.
Because I've seen on your Facebook that you're out on the water for a bit as well, and you're still doing that. Were you racing recently, like a few weeks ago?
So back in 2016, I joined Dundrum just as they were preparing to enter the World Championships. Went to that after about 3 months of being a member there, and in Delmont they competed and had like 2 races, and we ended up winning one of them races. So overall there was boats from Scotland, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America came over to compete in this relatively new sport. Dundrum won the entire thing as complete underdogs by something like 2 points.
And what sort of races were you doing? How many was in the boat? 2Ks?
Yeah.
With how many people?
4 people in the boat, 4 oars and then a cox. And like I say, we ended up winning that. It was class. But then people were like, oh, that was a fluke, you got that by 2 points or whatever. So our mission then was, let's try and defend this title as a club. The cool thing about that sport, which is kind of like CrossFit, I think that's why I like it so much, is it has age groups. So you can have 16-year-old crew, and you can have there's categories for 60 plus. Everybody in your crew has to be age 60 or over, and there's racing under 40s at the moment.
Yeah.
But then, so the title defence was mounted for Stranraer, which was the year before COVID. We went to that there and we put a serious training into that there. Like, if the CrossFit training that I was doing was dialed way back, so that I could spend more time doing stuff out in the water. We ended up winning that as well.
Brilliant.
So it was like title defence, which was really satisfying,
But I'm sure there was a big crossover between that and your CrossFit as well, you find?
Yeah, CrossFitters make really good coastal rowers.
Yeah, you find as well people who come in with like a strong swimming background, they've always good solid engines.
Yeah, or the gymnastics background too.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's amazing how CrossFit just crosses over to really anything that you want to do. If you're a CrossFitter, you're probably going to be pretty good at it.
And you sort of specialise a bit in gymnastics then down at your place?
Yeah, we do.
So where did that sort of come from, or what sort of probed you to sort of venture into that side of things?
Yeah, well basically, I can't remember, when did I set up Ascendance Gymnastics? Was about 5 years ago anyway. But like most CrossFit gym owners, that's my chosen profession, right? But I was struggling to make a career out of what I was doing. So I noticed that there was a little bit of a market in my area for kids gymnastics, and like when I'm watching like the Olympics or something, it's always the gymnastics that I love watching, right? So I was like, I've got this massive facility, let's open a gymnastics club. Did all the training for that, went and did the British Gymnastics Level 1, which was pretty darn hard, I must admit. Went and did mentored hours actually across from you guys over in Salto Gymnastics. Met some really cool people there. But coaching CrossFit and coaching gymnastics, coaching adults, and then coaching kids is pretty different. Like, so I literally had this mentor over in Salto called Connor, and I just tried to mirror his coaching style, and he's all like, all right kids, we're going to do this today. Super bubbly, high energy output.
I'm sure you found that pretty easy though.
No.
Is that not your natural personality? Like, you're very chatty.
Yeah. Well, I thought, okay, to be a good gymnastics coach, you've got to be like the class clown. The kids want to high five kids and all this. See, after the first week that I opened Ascendance Gymnastics, me and the girl that works there, Colette, she was the head coach. I said to her after 3 hours, I'm done here, because I was doing CrossFit and coaching gymnastics. The energy required to coach like that was crazy. Thankfully, I managed to tweak my coaching style when coaching kids, and I was able to refine it so that I didn't have to be doing star jumps with them and all of that. So really tough couple of years. So it was getting that place going. Then I decided to go straight for the British Gymnastics Level 2, which was like a tough course too. In the meantime, my CrossFit Level 1 expired. I think I was telling you at the course, it was like it expired, and I messaged HQ and I was like, guys, can I do the Level 2? Yep. Okay, my Level 1's expired. Oh, you got to do your Level 1 again. And that was that. So did the Level 1 again, which was actually awesome, because Coles, that coaches in my place, she wanted to do her Level 1, so I ended up doing it with her. And it was cool, like revisiting the course that you did 8 years ago. Learned an awful lot on that one, and then recently the Level 2,
So good. Do you boys want to chat a wee bit about, you've all done the Level 2 recently?
Myself, Benji, were at it, Ben was at it as well, Ben Brackenridge. We loved it. We had a great time. We're lucky that the three of us all went together to do it, to be honest, because all the learnings that we took home, we're now judging each other on our coaching, and that's motivating us to give our best in every class. Every Saturday since, we've all been in coaching, but we've made sure another coach has watched you coach and provides feedback afterwards. So for you were there on your own, obviously.
Yeah.
How did you find coming out of the level 2 then and implementing, you know, some of those kind of changes and things? Do you find the motivation's high, or does it kind of drop a wee bit? You know, as I say, you're on your own, and it's a wee bit different for you to kind of maintain that motivation and energy.
Coming off the level 2, well, first things first, as soon as I rolled into the car park, I seen you three going in. I was like, yes, White Wolf's in the house. Happy days. Somebody else that I know here, right?
Likewise, that's the same with us.
No.
You know, and I managed to see Laura I knew Laura from Bad Bear was going. I'm friends with those guys too, and I was like, yeah, this is good. This is going to be good.
And Michael was there as well, vegan from across the way. The range,
So I was like, happy days, someone to sit with and talk to, and I was like, I hope I get into their group as well, you know. But the biggest takeaway for me, and I think this was the overwhelming message of the level 2, was we as coaches talk way too much, right? You know, and when Carl Stedman, who is rightly renowned, the guy is just a pleasure to hang out with. Today we're going to teach the squat. You're going to have your feet shoulder width apart, shoulders back, chest tall, spine neutral. You know, all of the points of performance, and you're talking to maybe somebody who's not as experienced or whatever, and they're just like, what? What are we doing again? What do I need to do with my shoulders? And so, like, the thing that I learned really was to talk less, show more, and just less is more. You know, and it seemed like in the time that I've been back coaching my classes at Eccentric, like, I'm really loving the challenge of shutting my mouth and just getting on with watching out for good movement. Tactile cues as well. I'm really impressed by how the guys taught us how to be more tactile in cueing athletes. So, for example, if somebody is not fully opening their hips, or if they got what's called a muted hip when they're doing some sort of Olympic weightlifting, you don't need to say open your hips or extend your hips or squeeze your butt. You can literally just go behind them and go, here, hit my hand on the way up. Do it once. That worked a treat for me yesterday, coaching one of my guys with some power cleans. So learned an awful lot. Those courses are good, like.
It's interesting because obviously the level 1 and the level 2, the difference being you're on the level 1 and you're essentially being taught like you're in a class. Here's the movements, you know, here's how you kind of perform them, and then you go and do an exam, and then you're level 1 qualified.
It's basically just like a reading a handbook, and they show you what it is. It's like information rather than actually.
Do you guys not think the CrossFit level 1 is almost like an extended brainwashing session? And I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is, if you're on the fence about CrossFit and you do the CrossFit level 1, I challenge you to not be in love with the methodology after you do that CrossFit level 1.
They have it down to a fine art. Like.
It is just a piece of art, like, without a doubt. And having revisited the level 1, you know, 6 years later or whatever it was, like, that just completely relit the fire in me to just keep doing what I do with the sport, you know.
What did you think of, that's interesting, from doing your level 1 the first time and then having coached for, like, you know, 6 years, then doing it again? Like, what did you notice different, like, you know, as someone who clearly has experience in the field? You know, I think it's also very different in level 2, because, like, I think I came into level 2 and I was like, what, I'm coaching for 3 years, 3.5, 4 years, whatever, and then I was like, oh, I remember I left the first day and I was like, I can't coach at all. And I was like, I'm real bad, and like was actually quite like friggin' like depressed. But anyway, like aside redoing that, it was a big step up basically. But what did you find from like level 1 to coaching for 6 years to then doing the level 1 again? Like, what did you notice? Like, was there anything sort of?
I was definitely less nervous the second time doing the level 1, and I think all of the British Gymnastics level 1 and level 2, they're very coursework. You know, there's a lot of kind of mentored hours. You have to get signed off by your mentor. Mine was Claire Taylor from Salto. So I think going into the level 1, I was just Coles, who came with me. She'll kill me for saying this. Sorry, Coles. But like was nervous about it, you know, and like doing that exam, that theory test at the end, that multiple choice. that was really fun. So it was, and
Yeah.
as soon as we got out, I was like, "How'd you do, calls?" I failed that. There's no way I've passed that.
Yeah.
You always have that kind of wee feeling in the back of your head. That was a bit of a tricky question.
Was your level 1 in person again? Your radio,
It was.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was one of the last ones before the pandemic.
Yeah.
What did you think of the people on the level 1? I think it's a very different, like sort of, well, clients sort of, or like people on the course. Like I remember my level 1 and like some of the people on it, and I was like, this is just like, it's all like, there was a lot of like fit people that are just like, I just want a level 1 as a qualifier so I can stick it on Instagram. Do you know what I mean? Rather than, and it was like all the workouts was like the burpee Fran, always the classic Fran sort of thing, and people were like, I'm gonna go really fast, and that's what's happening. Whereas like the level 2, there was no egos at all, like from anybody. I know that I was just like, we are all here, like everyone came in with a bit of, we're all experienced and come in and we're just like, oh, I can't wait to actually learn, get better. Everyone was trying to help each other, and like I was nervous, especially, and like you're like the coaching, like the first coaching session, and I was like, by the way, we have to coach. I had to coach you, Andy, Ben, like all these guys who've all been coaching for loads of years, and you're like, I know for a fact that they're all sitting just judging everything I do.
No way.
You know, like, but like it was funny. You think that, but like they weren't really.
Totally.
And you're just like, actually, everyone's here to help each other. But it was interesting. The difference was like
That's the
drastic
thing, yeah.
difference.
It's if I remember correctly, the Dunning-Kruger effect, you call it. The more you know about a subject, the less you know kind of thing. So
Yes, yeah.
you're going to your level 1, you've been, training for 5 years in the gym, and you think you're the dog's bollocks, and then that's what you're talking about. You get a lot of people on the level 1, so you're a bit more egotistical, and they're looking around the room, and it's sort of a bit of a pissing match.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think you're going to have people that are doing the CrossFit level 1, especially now. 9 years ago, you went on your level 1 because you wanted to open a CrossFit affiliate. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people, maybe those the level 1 now, who are currently running functional fitness facilities, of which there are too many.
Yeah.
Dabbling with the idea of perhaps someday I might affiliate. If you're doing CrossFit, you should be an affiliate. And that's end of story.
Yeah,
for sure.
That might sound controversial, but as affiliate owners, we're paying our dues every year, have done for the past 5+ years.
And it adds up, doesn't it, as well?
It does. So with what you said there, Benji, you're totally right. See the level 2. The level 2 is affiliate owners and coaches in affiliates. And I think that's the real difference. But I was like you, man. I was the first breakout session, I was like, what is wrong with me?
Oh, here.
Why can't I talk?
I know. I was coaching a push press, and I'm like, I can coach a push press.
Yeah.
And as soon as I started, Andy was like, no, wrong. And I was like, I was like I literally hadn't even, I barely had got the PVC pipe under your front racks. Yeah. And he would already been like, that's wrong. And I'm like, oh, like, and immediately deer in headlights. Desperate.
Totally.
But it's also funny that this definitely could be controversial. It's not really. The level 1 doesn't qualify you to be a coach. I think it tells you on paper, but like I was like, there is no way. Like as in even now, having a level 2, I'm still like, oh my goodness, like that's week in way. I was like, we need to learn. We have so much more to learn, and the bar is should be completely moved.
Serious knowledge bombs on that course, like.
But just even your ability to coach, and I'm like, just because you have, as well, I suppose it goes for level 2 too. You could pass the course, and you could it doesn't mean you're a good coach, but I think the level 1, like it definitely doesn't mean that you are.
Yeah, I think the
qualified.
difference being the level 1 is intended for someone who's maybe coming under the wing of a gym, or someone who has more experience, who can then, I guess, mentor them or help them along with their sort of coaching journey.
Well, it's interesting that actually, because when you do your British Gymnastics level 1, so my Ascendance Gymnastics is a British Gymnastics affiliate, so same way CrossFit Eccentric is a CrossFit affiliate. Yeah. Granted, it costs a lot less to be an affiliate of British Gymnastics every year. However, you're not allowed to be a head coach. Every British Gymnastics have these rules which are great. You can't be a head coach of your club. You can't take charge of a group of gymnasts without being a level 2. So when you're a level 1, it's like, okay, here's a great start. Kind of what you were touching on there. It's a great start. Now do some hours under the guidance of a mentor, and then come back and do your level 2. And only when you've got your level 2 can you then be deemed a head coach. And for me, I had to get that, because if my head coach was off sick or whatever, that I could step in and proverbially fill her shoes as such. But the CrossFit level 2, like, don't get me wrong, see, like the level 1s in my gym are really good. They're really, really good coaches. I think that's more because they believe in what we're doing, and they're into the progress of all of the members every bit as much as I am. But I'm with you on that totally. Like,
but they've also got you, who's been affiliate owner for 9 years there as well. Do you know what I mean? Which is like, you know, regardless of whatever, you're still there. You have some form of experience, a lot of experience, you know what I mean, which is still able to impart. I think there still is a standard, you know, like, but I think, like, in the end of the day, like, you know, 3 years or 5 years, what did I do, man? 4 years ago I did my level 1, and I was like, I could have opened a gym then, and I tell you what, I knew nothing.
Did you not come away from that going, wow, like, if you weren't part of this team, would you come away from your level 1 going, I am opening a gym?
Oh, 100%. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like, I genuinely, whenever I think, I was like, yeah, I want to open a gym. That's what I'm going to do. Someday I'm going to open a gym. That's what it is. And I could have, in theory, went and done it there and then, you know, and it's like, but if you think about it, like, I remember taking my first class as well. In here was a Saturday morning, all you boys were away, and I was like, like, it was so...
We just threw you the keys that day.
So bad. It's just like, oh, there's one, we can all go away. It was your stag, actually, that's what it was. I wasn't invited in that one, but alright. Didn't make the wedding either, but okay. Awkward. But yeah, like, and I just think that's kind of, like, cause you see that, and I think, I don't know, I'm not, like, I don't want to judge people, but I suppose, like, I think you just realize, it kind of dilutes the thing, because, like, I realize now, like, and what the standard, I think we've tried to really up the standard and realize that, like, oh my goodness, like, we have so much more to do, and, like, this is not, like they were saying on the level 2, like, you can get stagnant, like, can't you? You know?
Totally. Like,
and I think we all did.
It's like what Carl, one of the first things he said was, every coach inevitably at some stage in their coaching career will become complacent. And it's just part of it. But it's
that's the cool thing about CrossFit. They have this journey that you can go on, and you can continuously, you know, mastery, I suppose. And the level 3 is definitely something I'm going to do. Level 3 is like, it's like a 4-hour exam, all theory, and maybe some logbook stuff too. But like,
I think that's just to get, as in, to be able to do it, to qualify to do that exam, you have to be like, here is you sort of evidence of 300 hours of coaching, you know, and then you're able to go and sit the whatever exam, and you have to go to Scotland, is the nearest, like, testing centre.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's over in Glasgow.
I like how you already know all this. You got it booked yet, have you?
I think
straight out, as soon as that level 2, it's like, you've passed level 3.
John McGeechee and Lauren, level 3, isn't he?
Yes,
I've
seen that.
Level 3,
I sent him a message, actually.
Right.
Thought that was awesome. What a great way to spend your time in lockdown, right?
100%.
Brilliant.
Fair play, John. He's definitely not going to watch this, but...
And they're probably, I don't know if he's maybe the only one in Northern Ireland, would he be? I think there's potentially only one other level 3, maybe 2 down south. That's it, like. You know, there's not many, like.
I think it's because it's so hard, like a 4-hour theory exam.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but that scares the crap out of me.
No, like, for sure. I was crapping myself about that multiple choice one at the end of the level 2.
Yeah, there you go. So, Neil, what's the plans for the future? Any big dreams or plans for the gym or anything else in your life? Doesn't have to be fitness based. Just how was lockdown and COVID for you? Did you have any revelations during that time? You know, a lot of time to think for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what you guys did during lockdown, when you look around here, is unreal. Like,
thank you.
For me personally, it was all about survival. If I'm honest with you, the pandemic was tough on everybody. And my initial thing was protecting my family, right? I've got a wife and 3 daughters, and I was like, you need to protect them. So, you know, right down to spraying the shopping. Did you do that?
Yeah.
In the beginning,
In the very beginning, it was just scary. So it was.
The fear mongering was crazy, though, wasn't it?
It was. Like, we lent out every piece of kit in our gym to our members at the time. And back then we were actually following Jason Kalipa's program, NC Collective, NC Fit. But it got to the stage pretty quickly on where we realized that we were doing a serious amount of dumbbell thrusters and a serious amount of dumbbell like devil's press. There wasn't a huge amount of kind of variance in that program. And what ended up happening was when the proverbial shit hit the fan with Greg Glassman and everybody was up in arms about CrossFit and CrossFit affiliates, I decided right there and then that having spoke to Carl privately on Instagram and stuff, and I didn't want to just walk away from the affiliate model because I don't want to be a gym owner. I want to be an affiliate owner because it's CrossFit that I love. It's not functional training that I love. And I decided to go and get the programming off Rob Lawson from CrossFit Aberdeen. I was like, I'm going to support UK CrossFit because we have to stick together in such hard times, right? And went to him. I mean, he's highly renowned, high level, seminar staff.
He took my level 1.
He's a good dude, so he is. And I just started getting the programming off him. And
what's that, PTP?
PTP, pull the pin.
Yes.
But started doing that, and a year in, and do you know what it's like, guys? It's almost like, and maybe it's not just Rob's programming, but it's in general. I don't know about you, but I like doing CrossFit. I like doing Cindy, and I like doing Karen. Don't think anyone likes doing Karen, but I like to update the Karen time every now and again.
They're benchmark workouts for anybody who doesn't know.
Yes, I think we should explain.
Just clear that.
150 wall balls will end most people.
They're not Neil's concubines. They're CrossFit workouts.
Back from the DJ days when you were sort of single.
But yeah, so simple CrossFit, doing the simple things, and doing the right things for the right people for the right reasons. It's more of that than anything. So we went to that and haven't looked back. Honestly, all I can see now is just continually doing CrossFit, having fun with it. That's the key ingredient, I think, is to have fun doing what you do. And you guys clearly have fun up here. I wish I lived closer so I could come and do more stuff with you. But
you wouldn't be here if you didn't have the fun. That's it, because it is so much harder than people think running an affiliate.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of times when it's not fun.
Yeah, but you have no choice. You have too many bills to pay.
Yeah, totally. So there's I mean, that's part of the reason why I suppose I opened the gymnastics club too, was so that there was less pressure on my CrossFit affiliate to have a certain amount of members at a certain price to pay the bills, so just having fun with CrossFit. I do want to get to that 10-year affiliate mark. I do want to do the level 3, but yeah, that's the plan for me, is just to keep doing it, keep having fun, keep trying to get fitter every day, and crack on with the fountain of youth.
Class.
Awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
Unreal. Fitness.
Any final words, lads, or any burning questions? Anything else you want to say, Neil?
Yeah, I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
So, having watched your previous episodes, you always ask people what their favourite CrossFit workout is.
Oh yeah.
So, Benji, what's your favourite?
Probably Cindy.
Cindy?
Aye, bodyweight.
Bodyweight ninja. Love it.
Something like that.
My favourite is the classic Fran. I like a workout that's short and you have to give it absolutely everything you got and just go into that real red zone. That's my kind of style of workout. Yeah.
What's your Fran time?
2:33. 3.
Yeah.
That's class. Very nice.
Deadly.
I think there's a video of that on Facebook.
Is there? Yeah.
There's a video.
Scroll
Link
through the
in
archives.
Benji has exactly the same Fran time as me as well.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's so annoying. So annoying.
I was judging him doing it, looking at the clock, being like, oh crap.
Andy's 5-year record and he broke. I was ripping, and I know where I could make that 1 second up. I took one pause before I got those 15 with the thrusters, and that was it. Raging.
Yeah. What about you, John?
Me personally, I enjoy a kind of longer duration, more aerobic style workout with a good variance of
Easy.
Yeah,
something really
easy.
Something real easy where Johnny doesn't sweat.
Yeah, we used to have endurance Thursdays in here, so I programmed that for a few years, and I just really enjoy doing it. Yeah, coming up with interesting workouts, and
keep Johnny injury free.
Yeah, I love a wee team WOD as well.
Yeah.
We partner workout.
Who doesn't, right?
When you're jumping in, working hard, as Andy said, the pair of us tend to perform a wee bit better when you're in, working hard for 10, 15, 20 seconds, you're out again.
Yeah.
We are actually going through the qualifiers for Battle for Middle Ground.
I seen that yesterday on your Insta, I think.
Yeah. Ben stuck it up, I think, didn't he?
So we went just before lockdown to that team before, and best comp ever done in terms of like organisation.
That was unreal.
Everything, it was amazing, but just the team aspect of working
So
hard
much
with your
fun.
mates, and you know your mates giving it absolutely everything they have, you know, for the team, so you're going to do the same.
I think at one point, Andy, you got on the echo bike, and there was there was a
The
minute
assault
left.
bike, yeah.
The assault bike, was there a minute left?
I was less than, I think it was like, what just happened was about 30, like you would have been
Whatever.
off in 30 seconds,
Yeah.
and then it was like, there was
Whatever
30 seconds left. It's like, Andy was just like, just don't get off, and then Andy just kept going, and like, we carried him off. Like, it was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Honestly, I could, the darkness around my eyes, it genuinely was, but it just whatever way the timing worked out at the end of the workout, for me to transition someone else onto the bike didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So you just went
I
for
had to
it.
give it stacks, and it just, it was
It was
one of the hardest.
you lying outside with your legs.
There's a
and
video of that as
Ben
well.
was shaking your legs because you were like, my legs.
But yeah, that's where it's at in the team with your mates, and just giving it everything you have. You know,
Yeah.
you can't push to that level on your own to the same extent.
And I think
unless
like
you're doing it for other
doing
people.
exactly, and like that sort of competitions that like I know like it's not all about, obviously CrossFit in general isn't all about that, but like it's still, you know, fun to compete to some level, and like I think that's one thing that we do quite well here is like pretty healthy competition.
Yeah,
you know?
friendly
Yeah,
competition.
friendly. You know what I mean? And like, and being able to push hard, but going over there, and like I remember, like I think that exact workout we were starting, and we looked our left, and there was like a team of like 4 Royal Marine Commandos, and I was like,
Right.
they've just got like you seen like the dagger tattoo on their arms, like all of them, like, you know, just like the classic, just all look like squatties, and we smashed them into the
Ruined them,
ground.
yes.
Do you know what I mean? It was so good, and they're all huge, and like the workout hadn't even started, and all their tops off, you know, shredded, and I was just like, but like that, I love that kind of aspect of like sort of going over to, like was over in England, going over, probably maybe seeming a wee bit like looking like kind of the underdogs. We were definitely the smallest team there.
It was
you know?
interesting because those type of workouts, we were the smallest team on the floor, but it was very gymnastic-y, CrossFit. There were bar muscle ups, there were handstand walks, pistols, and we smashed most people in that one. But then they came to ski erg only.
This is this man here then,
It was like whatever it was, 2
Death.
minutes each on the ski erg.
Well, you could do, was it sick? I think it was 1,800 meters between the team. So it was 1,800 meters.
But
So
you
whatever
had
you
to
had to
do-
do your blocks. So you had to go like one athlete each, whatever that was,
Yeah.
divided by 4 of
Once
us.
you came off it, you couldn't go back onto it.
And like, I don't
So
know.
we were just like, oh well.
Tight
we
time
were
cap
screwed.
in on it too, was there?
Well, it's just like I was still like, I don't know what you had to do, but it basically like it must have been 10 minutes or something. But like, everyone was doing it in like, you know, like 6 or something stupid. Like I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but it was crazy. You had a
But,
whole
like-
day bomb. I remember like it was 130. 134, 135 was the kind of pace per like 500 meters we had to hold to try and like empty it, and like that, like I couldn't hold that. Like I'm like like
But
60
that's why
kilos.
it's so
Do you know what I mean? Like,
That's what made it so interesting, because
Yeah.
that workout wasn't suited to us at all.
oh no, and we
these
didn't come
guys were
last
just-
either.
Yeah, we didn't come last, but like you've got these 6'3" giants, you're just
Oh,
crushing
huge.
you.
Yeah.
Basically ripping the skier off the stand as
Yeah.
he was doing it, and I'm like, okay, cool.
But then you look to the next workout and you can see, okay, well it's team worm and box over.
And that one was amazing.
Yeah.
And there's just this really nice balance where
Team stuff's great, like.
I love
strategizing
the
and
Filthy
everything.
150 actually. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The worm. You just mentioned the worm there.
Love that.
Oh man, first time ever touching a worm, and it was like, cut that out. But like after doing that, like we got time capped on that workout, something ridiculous, because like at bar muscle ups and chest to bar pull ups, I couldn't wait to get to that. We didn't even make it to the bar muscle ups because the stuff that we were doing on the worm, that it was the synchro burpees and the worm cleans.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, you really have to be in sync with each other. And you can see
So,
that even
so
when you're
hard.
watching the games, athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ever since then, when you watch Team Mayhem or somebody
Yeah.
doing worm workouts, you're like, they are a bunch of weapons, because that is,
like,
the worm is one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah,
in
we
CrossFit,
did
like.
a lot of practice, thankfully, on the worm before we went over. So you're picking up time just because you've got coordination as a team, as opposed to I mightn't necessarily be stronger than the team competing beside me.
I don't think
they have no rhythm.
Yeah, and knowing what it feels like. Like, I remember, like, Filthy was actually, because I bought a worm whenever we were doing Filthy. I bought the worm so that we could use it and train in here, and like we did. And I remember the first couple of times we tried it. Like, there's a video of me, like, I think it was like Ben Brackenridge and Carrie Ann and Zoe, and like they just like at one point like just dropped the worm, and I was at the front, so it literally just catapulted me into the ground because I held on to it. Nobody told me, you know, and like that kind of, then you get used to the coordination, and eventually you started getting better. Like, we did all this practice as well for Filthy, and then we got there and we nearly missed the start of the workout, and we all sprinted to get in, hopped the fence and just jumped straight in. And like I nearly puked because it was like, whereas we finished it in practice but like didn't finish it. We got to like the last movement, but again, load of practice going over to Balfour Middle Ground. So much
But
fun.
those are all the great wee stories that you do get. That's what CrossFit's all about. Like, you can tell even everyone's face lighting up as they recall these competition memories. And
for me, it was, I told myself before I went, I wasn't in the best of shape, if I'm honest with you. I was rocking a full-on dad bod back then. It just wasn't, I'd been spending so much time doing other things, and I hadn't been training properly for it. We were just doing it for the fun, right? But I says, I'm not going to lie down. Miko Salo, right? You guys talked about this on the last podcast. I was not going to lie down. And like, after that worm workout, I lay down. I just lay there. And
I was really expecting something epic to come through.
No,
I
didn't lie down, and it was amazing.
And I have never laid down since.
Hell no, that destroyed me. So thank goodness that was our
First
third
opportunity,
workout.
I lay down.
Yeah.
And like, one of the judges was like, "Here, you have to move. The next wave's coming." And I was like, "Give me a second."
It's class, and we can all
good
relate
times,
to
like.
that so much. Like any CrossFitter, you can tell that story to, and they'll just they can relate totally.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Unreal.
But yeah, there you go.
You can probably hear the tunes coming in here being picked
the
up on
class.
the mics. Dave started the Metcon there in the class.
Love it. Just like my own place, it's like I tell my guys, right, we're going to do the whole lesson plan, you know, and music's on, but it's low, and I'm like, let's get the tunes up now. 3, 2, 1, go. And like I always say to people, if I have to coach you when the tunes are up, and I haven't done my job right for the first 40 minutes of this class, you know, we do practice rounds and stuff. I don't know if you guys do that, but like practice rounds before we go, grease the groove, whatever it's called, and that works a treat because then people are dialed in, they know what they're doing, good to go. So we can get the tunes up then.
It's just about getting the music
Sonic
as loud
Stimulations
as you can.
Radio
Yes.
on iTunes.
We will we'll link you in iTunes or Spotify,
Thank
whatever, in the description.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, go click the link and check out Neil's own tunes.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, love.
Good place to leave it there, maybe.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Thanks
for
very
having
much,
me.
Neil. Yeah, great having you down.
Good to have you.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.
Peace out.